EasyMorph is a visual data preparation and automation tool designed to help business professionals and data analysts to merge, clean, transform, and move data without writing code. If we open one of the available examples, EasyMorph will open it in the Workflow Editor. The Workflow Editor comprises three main parts: the top menu bar, the left-hand settings panel, and the workflow canvas. A workflow is a visual representation of a series of steps which make up a repeatable process. In EasyMorph, a workflow is made up of one or more tables. Each table has two main sections. At the top, we see the action chain, and the rest of the table shows a tabular data view. The action chain contains icons, each of which represent a step in the workflow. We call these steps actions. Actions transform the data in the table sequentially, one by one. Actions are executed from the left to the right. Clicking on any action in the table's action chain shows in the tabular data view the data as it is at that point in the process. It is important to know that unlike in other data tools, in EasyMorph, this data view does not show a sample of data, but instead shows all of the data, even if the table contains millions of records. When a workflow contains more than one table, they can be connected, with data flowing from the end of one table into the beginning of another, in the direction of the arrow. Data can also flow from one table to another when using certain actions, such as here, where one table is being merged or joined into another. Let's create a new workflow so that we can see just how easy it is to build your own. Most EasyMorph workflows begin by adding data. EasyMorph supports a wide array of databases, data file formats, and cloud business systems. Let's start our workflow by adding our sales data from a simple Excel spreadsheet. As well as using the Add Data button, we can also simply drag and drop the file into EasyMorph. We can see that our workflow now contains a single table, and that EasyMorph has added the relevant action to load our file. With this action selected, we can see that the left-hand settings panel shows all of the settings for the action. If the default settings don't do as we need, we can change them, such as selecting a different tab from the spreadsheet instead. We can continue to build our workflow by adding additional actions. If we click the Add Actions button, the left-hand settings panel shows us all of the available actions for us to choose from. Actions are split into 5 main categories: those which import or load data, those which create data, those which transform the data, those which export the data from EasyMorph, and those which perform an additional automation action. Let's begin by adding an action to sort our data by the transaction date and time. And we also wish to filter the data to only those sales from certain tills or cash registers. We also need to merge in some additional data so that we can map our product codes to meaningful product names. So let's drag and drop this additional mapping table into our workflow and add the merge another table action to use it as a lookup table, just like performing a VLOOKUP in Excel. We can easily put our new product names column where we need by simply dragging it. Now we have our data as we need, we can add an export action to output it as a new Excel file ready for us to share with others. Unlike in other data preparation tools, EasyMorph workflows aren't just about preparing data. For example, rather than manually emailing out our newly produced Excel file, we can add the Send Email action to our workflow and configure it to automatically send the email for us. In just a couple of minutes, we've created a reusable workflow to create our sales report, ready to run again when we receive new data, saving us a few valuable minutes every week. We've only scratched the surface of what EasyMorph can do. To find out more, visit easymorph.com and navigate to the tutorials and examples under the Learn menu. Download EasyMorph now and discover how much time you can save yourself.